you can't help but get the urge to double check one more time, and then maybe check a few more times, and go back to the restroom 5 more times because you feel you missed the spot washing your hands. It's your relief, and you can't help but fight the obsession. Millions of people suffer from a compulsion, and it's important to understand why and how to deal with someone who does. In the New York Times, an article was written about a mother who was dealing with her daughter's OCD, and that she stated how she herself has bipolar and deals with depression, and was hoping that her daughter wouldn't get any of her mental health issues. Unfortunately, her daughter did get OCD and is learning to deal with it. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, research has been found that OCD could be hereditary. A few of my main points would be examples of rituals, how some people deal with washing their hands excessively or checking door locks to unlock it, lock it up again. People who have violent thoughts, who have sexual urges, and other different forms of rituals that they may do. Another thing that I will go into is symptoms, causes, and treatments for OCD. Here I have a few rituals. Some people are afraid of germs and dirt, so they have a compulsion to wash their hands repetitively. Intruders, some people feel that someone might come in, and so they have a compulsion to lock and relock doors before they go to sleep at night. Another thing is people who have sexual thoughts. They'll think things very vulgar. They'll also have violent thoughts. They'll think of hurting people over and over and over again. Some people don't know how to control these thoughts. It's something that is uncontrollable. They find relief out of it and not so much pleasure. Here are a few causes. OCD runs in families. It's a part of the brain that involves a form of fear, anxiety. I have a diagram here showing that people will deal with an anxiety, which creates the compulsion to do something, to fix something, to manipulate something. From there, they'll find a relief. The relief will then go to an obsession. The obsession deals with the anxiety, the fear, and it just goes around and around. Then we have different symptoms. We have repetitive thoughts, images of germs, violence, cleanliness, sexual acts, intruders, etc. They also seem to do the same rituals over and over again. They can't seem to know how to control unwanted thoughts or behaviors. I know many people who deal with obsessive compulsive with even numbers. They just have to do everything in evens, or some people do everything in odds. Some people don't get the pleasure out of it, but the relief of being able to figure out how to do things. It starts at a very young age, childhood. Some people realize it in their teen years. It's diagnosed by the age of 19. It affects 2.2 million adults. Research indicates that OCD might run in families. It hasn't been found to be genetic, but it is leaning towards that because many people who do have family members that deal with OCD will then pass it down to their children and grandchildren. You're diagnosed when the diagnosis is, it comes and goes, it can get worse, it can ease up over time. People with OCD will try to avoid obsessive situations. They'll try to not go to the restroom as much because they know that they won't be able to stop washing their hands. I know plenty of people who carry Germ-X around. They constantly put on Germ-X. OCD can be accompanied by eating disorder, an anxiety or depression. Doctors may refer to mental health specialists to be able to help with this disorder. There have been a few treatments that have been found. There's some psychotherapy, cognitive behavior therapy useful for OCD to help reduce compulsive behaviors. Doctors use exposure and response prevention therapy to be able to help them reduce the amount of times that they find the urge to do their compulsions, to do their rituals. There's also medication and anti-anxiety, which has been helpful to help a lot faster. It's more effective faster. And then you have your antidepressants, which take about 10 to 12 weeks to take to effect to then start to help you. These are a lot better, but in return, you have side effects, which can cause headaches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, but most people aren't bothered by these symptoms only because they feel that anything to help them reduce the amount of rituals that they have will be what's best for them, and they won't mind what they have to go through in order to stop having to go through these rituals. I know that many people have these urges. I am happy that I was able to show you and explain to you the causes, symptoms, and treatments and effects of OCD. It's something that I know I have dealt with, but it occurs in many different people, even people who are healthy. It's just something that many people don't realize that they are doing, even those who are healthy and normal. They once in a while will go to the door and make sure that it's locked. It's not something that will, change your life for a normal person, but it does change those who suffer with OCD. Now that I have discussed examples of rituals and what may cause OCD and what symptoms show that you have OCD and the treatments to help those with OCD, I hope you'll be able to handle any situation, whether it's a family member or a close friend of yours. Just keep in mind that people don't find pleasure in what they have to compulse over. They don't find pleasure in fixing things out of their control. They find relief in the small amount of things that they're able to act on their urge.